The thing about being willing to die for a cause is that sometimes it's not you that does the dying. This week, it's all about loss. Facing it, stopping it, and accepting it. On The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 13. Bury Me Here. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Walking Dead. So, of course, as always, spoilers are heavy in this review. Alright, so this episode we have the kingdom moved toward the unification with Hilltop and Alexandria against the Saviors. Well, pushed maybe a little bit faster than was going to naturally happen anyway by Richard in his schemes to really get things going. But this episode, like I had mentioned up in the front there, is all about loss and how everybody deals with it, tries to fight it, tries to accept it, or tries to stop it from happening. We have, of course, in the opening, Carol dealing with little PTSD nightmares. Very traumatic life for her. In fact, I expect that most people that are alive at this point in the apocalypse generally have nightmares as a rule of thumb. But this is why Carol walked away from Alexandria. This is why that she is living by herself, because there is so much loss that she has had to suffer. Not just of the people around her, but also as she felt a sense of herself. And with the events that have surrounded the past few episodes, specifically Jesus bringing everyone up to Hilltop, she can see that there is something else going on. And she makes her way down in just epic Carol fashion, just mowing through augers. I loved her up in the tree, just stabbing them with the sign. Then when the kingdom gates open and Benjamin and the rest of the guards come out and they're just kind of like slack-jawed. She's just, yeah, I'm done, all right, walk past. What day is it? It's like Thursday. Yeah, that's what it is for Carol. I love that little moment. But she wants answers. You know, this is sort of, and it's perfect that this is the beginning and sort of the end of the episode too, because this is a big loss for her. That's why Daryl didn't tell her. That's why Morgan refuses initially to tell her, knowing what the effect of that is going to have. But that's just sort of little insight to what is going to go on, because of course, loss, there's a lot of loss in this episode. Not only of young Benjamin, who was pretty much marked for death from the beginning. When he's there with Carol and asks to go with her, oh, there's a drop, but I could miss it and come watch you. I want to learn from you. And she says no. One, now you've got some guilt for Carol to carry along later on when he comes in, because you know that she is thinking, oh, if I had taken him with me, he would have still been alive. But also when he goes up with Morgan, gives him a present, a nice picture, great, here's your book, I just finished it, I just learned it, oh, and I've got a girlfriend. If you're doing the about to die checklist, you're hitting all of them. You know, you're about to finish a job, you're about to go on vacation, you just met a girl, you just finished a book, you just figured out the reason for life, you found a happy place, which is why I'm a little worried about Michonne, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Anyone happy around Rick? You've got to be a little bit worried. Just saying. But all of these were pretty much check marks. Just right after that, I looked over at my wife and I was like, he's dead. He is not making the end of this episode. Which obviously is the case. We have Richard, who has been trying to force a fight with the Saviors, force something for Ezekiel to respond to. And at least, the one thing that I can give it for Richard here is at least he was trying to sacrifice himself. Before, he was willing to sacrifice Carol to kind of kick Ezekiel. And there was a lot of concerns. I know we've talked about it in the comments section about Ezekiel Jr., about young Benjamin there, that would be another loss that would push Ezekiel to go forward. But at least that wasn't Richard's plan. It wasn't a very good plan. Certainly you don't need to push the Saviors anymore. And While I understand Richard's motivation in wanting to make things happen, and him telling his story later on about right after the apocalypse started, being in the camp, seeing that there were issues, but not wanting to make the change, not thinking that he was the person to do it, and after that, fights fire, his wife dies, goes on the run, a couple days later his daughter dies right in front of him. That is going to motivate you to want to make some changes, to want to be personally active in shaping your own future. But again, bad thing dealing with any of the saviors. They don't do anything right. They're a little bit crazy. They jump. They're overly reactive. This seems to be a situation that we all know was coming up sooner or later. This was really a perfect example. One frickin' melon, and you're gonna shoot and kill someone. This is just why these things needed to happen. But unfortunately, it is Benjamin that gets caught in the crossfire there, and he is the one that is suffering because of it. Now, the one thing I can say about Richard is certainly his willingness to die for the kingdom is honest and forthright. When that gun does get pulled on him, he doesn't blink, doesn't flinch, doesn't move, has absolutely no reaction. Yes, he set this situation up, and he was willing to die and ready to do that. You can see that in his face. But really, I mean, that's a level of commitment, to not even react when the gun is there. And that might have been why he wasn't shot, because he didn't show any fear, because he was willing to accept it. For the saviors, that's no fun. They're crazy. So when Benjamin gets shot, not only is it devastating to Richard, because that was not the way that he was planning it to go, but for Morgan, because Benjamin's basically been a new surrogate son for him. He's following in his footsteps, he's listening to books, he's buying him gifts, he is a replacement. You know, the whole conversation, oh, you found a girl, I mean, again, signifying you're about to die, but that is their connection. You have that sort of father-son, I mean, and he kind of shares that with Ezekiel in the sense of seeing Benjamin that way. So when he dies, when he's shot, when he dies, that pushes Morgan over the edge. The last time that he had that type of loss was when his son died, Dwayne, and that pushed him into crazy psycho clear mode, which is why he was seeing all those flashes and such while he was kind of losing it on the street there. And it's also why he calls Benjamin that name when he finally tells Ezekiel what happened, and he says he killed Dwayne. Oh no, I mean Benjamin, because he is locked up. That's what Richard's loss. I mean, Richard's in some way been motivated for the loss of his kid and reacting off of that. But now we have Morgan doing the same thing, reliving that, all of those moves that he had made, all of that understanding, especially because Benjamin dies saying, you know, you hurt them, you hurt yourself. The same philosophy that he has been trying to live now has cost another life. Now, he has already killed. He killed the savior that was trying to kill Carol that one time. But this is that psychotic, that break. And I think he was willing to hold on to that for a moment to be sure that Richard was going to own up to what happened, to tell Ezekiel, to let that punishment come in that form from the king, from the head of the kingdom, within the confines of that culture that's there. So when Richard didn't, and more to the point, when he takes the box and starts to say the lines that he was saying that he was going to tell them when he was talking to Morgan, we understand doing that false sense of security, we're going to apologize and do all of that so we can earn their trust, and then we can go and stab them in the back. Once he started saying those words, that's what pushed Morgan over the edge. That he's going to willing to use the death of this kid in order to further his own goal. I was willing to die for it, now I'm going to be the leader of it. That's, again, a little crazy on the side of Richard there. So for Morgan, I think that's what pushed it out. Now, just a quick little note, does seem that they learned about not showing too much, because a lot of people were upset about seeing what happened with Glenn. If you notice, we did not see Richard being totally choked out. We didn't see the all-eyed buggy type of thing that would have been going on. So I think they were maybe trying not to push things over too much. Also was unnecessary. Though I was kind of startled that nobody reacted Nobody did anything. I mean, everyone was just staring. Yeah, Morgan's the pacifist. You're not going to expect him to attack and certainly not kill Richard. Maybe choke him out, maybe attack him. But the Saviors didn't move. Ezekiel didn't move. None of the guards moved. Nobody. They were just all stunned and out of it. And when Morgan used the words, the Saviors, that Richard had told him the day before, which is the words that Richard started to say before Morgan went and had to take him out, again, I think was just very telling, because that is exactly Morgan's plan, is what Richard's plan was. Richard's plan, earn their security, earn their trust, then stab him in the back. That's what Morgan's going to do. It's just that Richard does not deserve to lead the army to do it, not after what he did. But I thought the fact that he used those words, very, very telling about his mindset. So at this point, this is why he goes back up to see Carol, because at this point, Morgan has accepted his dissent. The whole pacifist idea is now gone. Revenge is the driving factor. What we thought was going to push Carol when she found out what happened to Glenn and Abraham is really what happens to Morgan when he loses Benjamin. Is he goes crazy, he goes psycho, which is why Carol gives him the house. It says, look, you can go without going. You can stay here, be away from people. I'm not sure if Morgan being by himself is necessarily the best. He's sitting on the porch carving his staff into a spear now. But that does get Carol motivated back, who is now using her twist in a more constructive end, coming back to the kingdom and kind of taking that position where Morgan was. But now with the new goal is, now we have to fight. Now we have to train. So Carol is back. As we predicted, as soon as she found out what happened to Glenn and to Abraham, that was going to be the motivating factor. Interesting to see that it was also really Morgan flipping and pushing to kind of maybe straighten her out from going too far crazy. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see the dynamic between the two of them going forward, because Carol was the unexpected killer, and now we have Morgan, the pacifist, going back into killer mode. The two of them loose. Saviors, run. Run. All right, just a couple of things. Nabila, she's adorable. And is she our first Muslim character that we've had? I mean, I'm all up for diversity. That's awesome. I just took a quick note of it. Was like, that's cool. And yeah, she is adorable. Also, more loss there. They're losing crops. Losing crops, losing people, losing your mind. A lot of loss this episode. And if you didn't need another reason to take out the Saviors, they hit Jerry. Don't mess with Jerry. We need Jerry. All right, so now we have the kingdom getting ready also for war against the Saviors. That is the last of the big communities of opposition that are now just going to need to coordinate to begin the all-out war against the Saviors. Oh, so exciting. Of course, barring anything unforeseen about to happen, we do have Rosita and Sasha's little murder mission about to go off. So that's what we're going to be catching up on next week and see what happens. Only a few episodes left for this season, so I think we're going to get the big ramp up, and then next season will probably be the big battle. So, if you did enjoy this review, please hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, comments, throw those down in the section below. What'd you think of Morgan's little descent? Think Carol is finally back? Is she going to be on the front lines, or is she just going to help train? And how long until everybody finally gets coordinated and ready to begin the fight? Throw those down comment section below. Now, you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Darren Japes. There it is right there. But you can also subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, please join up with us. You don't want to miss anything. And you can do that by hitting my little face. It's right there. That's a subscription button. And what I'll do is I will throw up our latest review for Black Sails right up here. You can check that out. So, I am D, and I am out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.